At 37,000 feet above the ground, everything feels calm. You're sitting in your seat, looking out over endless clouds. The cabin is quiet, the ride is smooth, and there's no reason to think anything could go wrong. Then, without warning, a violent explosion rips through the aircraft. It's sudden, loud, and powerful. The plane shudders, and the calm atmosphere disappears instantly. You realize something is seriously wrong. This was supposed to be routine clear weather, experienced pilots, a stable aircraft cruising at high altitude. Up in the cockpit, the situation changes just as quickly. The autopilot disconnects, and pilots take control. But something feels off immediately. The aircraft isn't responding the way it should. There are no clear warning alarms, just a growing sense that control is slipping away. At first, it looks like a typical engine problem, but within moments, it becomes clear this is far more serious. At 37,000 feet, where every movement matters, the aircraft begins drifting, slowly at first. Inside the cabin, you feel it too. The smooth flight is gone, replaced by unsettling movements. People glance at each other, unsure, trying to read the situation. No one panics yet, but comfort is gone. Back in the cockpit, the truth finally becomes unavoidable. This isn't just a single failure. It's worse. All hydraulic systems completely gone. Without hydraulics, the aircraft has no proper control, no steering, no precise movement, no reliable way to respond. At this altitude, that changes everything. The aircraft is still in the air, but the margin for survival has dropped dramatically. This kind of failure is something pilots are never truly trained for because it's not supposed to happen. Now the situation becomes a fight to stay in the air. The aircraft is no longer flying in a controlled way. Every second feels uncertain. And then, unexpectedly, something changes the course of this flight. From the cabin, a man stands up. He's not part of the active crew, but he is a pilot. While most people remain seated, he makes a decision and moves toward the cockpit. In a moment where fear could take over, he steps forward instead. That decision alone begins to shift the odds. Inside the cockpit, the situation is already critical. The aircraft is unstable. There are no procedures to follow here, no checklist to rely on. Everything depends on instinct. The only tools they have left are the engines. By carefully adjusting power, they attempt something no one trains for: steering the aircraft using thrust alone. It's not smooth or precise, but it begins to work. Every adjustment matters. Every second carries weight. One wrong move could send the aircraft into a dive. The plane begins descending, not in a controlled way, but not completely out of control either. There's one possible destination, a nearby airport. It becomes the only chance of survival. Inside the cabin, the mood shifts again. People begin to understand what's happening. The captain makes an announcement, calm but direct, explaining they will attempt an emergency landing. There's no false reassurance, no attempt to hide the seriousness. You hear those words, and everything becomes real. As the aircraft gets closer to the ground, another problem becomes clear. It's moving too fast. Without full control, slowing down properly isn't possible. The runway is in sight, but reaching it safely is uncertain. There's only one chance to get this right. No second attempt. No room for error. The tension builds. Then comes the impact. The aircraft hits the ground hard, breaking apart as it slides across the surface. Fire and smoke fill the scene, and for a brief moment everything feels still. You expect the worst, but then something unexpected happens. People begin to move. Survivors crawl through the wreckage, helping each other, finding ways out of a situation that should have left no one alive. Against all odds, 185 people survive. In a situation where survival seemed nearly impossible. It wasn't just one factor, it was a combination of decisions, teamwork, and the refusal to give up. This moment didn't just end as an accident, it became a turning point. Aviation safety improved. Systems were redesigned, and new lessons were learned from what happened that day. And as you step back from this story, one thing becomes clear. Even in the worst possible situation, when everything seems lost, there is still something that can be done. And sometimes that one decision is enough to change everything.